what got me originally 17, 18 years ago when I became a vegetarian. And I'll tell you what, I'm so glad that the information was presented to me. I was talking with my friend Amish last night, whose parents are Hindus, and they've been vegetarians their whole life, and all the family lineage all the way back. And I'm so glad that there is a religion on this earth that is vegetarian, and that they bring that teaching from the grandparents to the kids all the way through. That is so amazing. I'm so glad that that exists. Because we do not have to kill to live. We don't have to kill to live. For you personally, that's going to be an individual choice, and there's no right or wrong about it. I don't want to get into that. But for me personally, morally and ethically, I cannot do it. And if you're solution-oriented, which I believe anybody who's living in this community is solution-oriented, it's possible to figure out ways to live ethically and morally without killing. And it might be trickier for some people than others because there's different metabolisms and health conditions, but it must be possible for everybody in some way, shape, or form. The more that we can add in, by the way, all those great things, like let's think about it. Somebody says, I need protein. Great, goji berries. Here's a raw, organic, plant-based, complete protein that's not cooked. Max Planck Institute did a study on protein. Here's what they found out. 50% or more of the protein in every food is lost when you cook the food. I don't know. It's like, whoa. How are we going to get our protein? How are we going to get our protein? Actually, the big question 10 years ago was, where do you get your protein? Guess what it is now? What do you think of kombucha? That is by far the number one question I get every event that I do. I mean, the last 2 or 3 years, it's like, I know it's coming. I can see it in the person. I'm like, oh yeah, here it comes. What do you think of kombucha? Do you want to know? You have to wait till the end of the commercial. Okay, so protein. Here's the thing. Protein is very important, and the vegetarian propaganda is actually wrong. It's actually very important. 2, 50% or more of the protein is lost when we cook the food. We don't want to be eating like raw meat out of a store, though, because that's really gnarly levels of bacteria. So that's kind of like, whoa, okay. 3, protein and the concentrates of protein that are found in the biosphere and available to us as food, because we live in a situation where, I remember 1977 when the Ohio River, or one of those rivers in Ohio, was on fire. Do you remember that? We live in a very disturbed environment and ecosystem where chemicals and literally radioactive materials have been leached into our environment, and we have to be more and more careful about what we're allowing in, because if we don't filter what's coming in, guess who becomes the filter? All that stuff gets stuck in us, so we have to filter it. We have to pre-filter everything now. How many people are doing that with your water? This was a crazy idea in 1950. Why would you filter your water? Now everybody's pre-filtering their water. So this is kind of what's going on with food, is we have to pre-filter our food, and therefore if we're going to get our protein, we have to very cleverly think about where it's coming from and look at all the factors. Definitely plant-based is more controllable, so that's a very key factor. 2 is that plant-based foods generally are grown more consciously than animal foods. Right? The factory farm thing is not cool. That's not fun. You ever driven by a factory farm? You ever driven through Arizona? You know those factory farms off on the side over there? You know what they're doing? I've been seeing this over the years. Here's what they do. They put in a factory farm. Gradually, they move the factory farm deeper and deeper into the desert, and they turn that area that was a factory farm into suburbs. It's gnarly. They've been doing that in Arizona for years. It's the whole state, or the whole city of Phoenix is built that way. And all the surrounding suburbs of Phoenix is that way. I don't know. Anyway, the protein thing. So what fits those categories? And here's a category just like this. Boom, in 10 years this whole category becomes available to everybody. Superfoods. In 1965, here's the only 2 superfoods you could get. Spirulina, and a food I don't really consider a superfood, brewer's yeast. Now what do we have? Aloe vera, noni beverages, maca, goji berries, raw cacao. Can you have your chocolate and eat it too? Is it better than ever? I've been eating chocolate daily for years, 5 years, every day that I've eaten. Am I doing okay? Right? People are like, you can't do it. It's a drug. It's like, hold on. Let's get back. Drugs? What about the coffee in the morning? What about the refined sugar in the coffee? What about the dairy product that's going into the coffee? You want to talk about drugs? What about bread? That's a drug. Wonder Bread? It's the cosmic giggle. It's like the cosmic giggle works itself through. I mean, the whole thing really is hilarious. It's unfortunate. I mean, I wish I could be like an alien from another planet where I could just be watching what's going on here on Earth instead of living in it. Because it's like, God, it'd be great to just not have to actually have depleted uranium in my backyard. If I could just watch it from afar and just go, whoa, this is the biggest comedy of all time. Superfoods like spirulina, blue-green algae, chlorella, marine phytoplankton. Oceans alive marine phytoplankton. Where is that? Grab that thing. Look where it's going. A superfood is a food that has a complete protein, so it's complete protein, is loaded in trace minerals, is filled to the rim in polysaccharides, which have a very specific, polysaccharides, I could do a whole lecture on polysaccharides, because polysaccharides have a very specific effect on our immune system, either bringing it up or bringing it down when somebody has an autoimmune condition. It's like dual directional, and they're completely soft. Like you eat garlic, straight garlic. I love garlic. Garlic's amazing. Okay? But man, you cannot do that every day. Because your system goes, dude, like, come on, man, lay off. Hold on. Polysaccharide, because it's harsh. Has harsh sulfur oils in it, and that burns everything up. It burns up all the viruses, bacteria, fungi, all that stuff. But it works it one way, up. It works your immune system up. It doesn't bring things back down. Polysaccharides work it both ways. And foods like goji berries have a huge fraction of polysaccharides. Fraction of polysaccharides right here. This is where it's going, by the way, because what's happening is it's really going the homeopathic direction, which is very interesting, is we're actually working on getting superfoods to a point of concentration naturally, like this is marine phytoplankton. Jacques Cousteau informed the world that this is the basis of our entire food chain of the world. And people go, well, what does marine phytoplankton have to do with a bear that poops in the woods? Here's what it has to do with it, right? When the salmon runs, the bear's in the river eating the salmon. What is the salmon eating? The smaller fish that go all the way back down to what the small fish eat, which is the marine phytoplankton. Then the bear goes into the woods and poops in the woods. So what's actually fertilizing the woods? Marine phytoplankton, base of the food chain. So this is a product we innovated in the last year where it's raw organic marine phytoplankton mixed with an ocean water concentrate. It's been found that if you tweak the mineral ratios in ocean water, you can actually create a liquid substance that's a complete preservative for anything. It puts anything in suspended animation. You put a blueberry in there for a year at room temperature, seal it, let it sit there. A year later, open it up, take the blueberry out, and eat it. It's perfectly preserved. We combine those two technologies. So that was figured out in Australia. We combine those two technologies together, and we're like, wait a second. Let's put the marine phytoplankton in that, and then it's shelf-stable room temperature. Effective by the drop. One drop is enough to feel effects. We should open one. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to open one and pass it around. But here's what I really am asking of you. Don't do this. I've seen that. Like I'm dropping something like, and they blow all the bacteria. It's unreal. Like, I don't know. Hold your breath, please, for the next person. Okay, so Giuliano, do you want to open this and then we'll pass it around? One drop. You tell me, one drop on the tongue. You go.